So, what is NLP? Neuro-Linguistic Programming. NLP is a buzzword. It's a science of change. It is about transformation, self-discovery, awareness, empowerment. So, let's understand more about neuro-linguistic programming from Ravi Bodani. Ravi has a more than decades of experience in conducting and facilitating NLP certification workshops. So let's understand more about NLP from Ravi, the master trainer. Yes, Ravi. So we are ready and curious to know more about NLP from your experience.
Fantastic. It's an honor to be here. And it's going to be an absolute delight for me to talk about this very fascinating topic for which I have been researching, learning, applying for more than a decade now. So thank you for having me here.
Wonderful. So Ravi, we all curious to know exactly what is NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming. It sounds very technical, very hi-fi jargon.
It is indeed, in fact. So I think before I come into the actual definition of NLP, I want to start with some simple words.
Oh yes,
The
please.
simple words meaning, let's say that NLP is a study of learning how to operate our mind and body through language, right? Through communication in such a way that we are able to produce successful results in our life. So we as human beings, I'm sure that every one of us want to achieve something in life, get rid of their existing problems or some limiting habits or beliefs.
Yes.
So NLP is a study of how to make use of our own body and mind so that we can make the most of life.
Okay. So this is a study of how do we operate our mind and body to achieve our goals.
That's right. So let's say this, if I can just share as a matter of this conversation, if I have my mobile phone right now,
Okay.
so I have this tool, right? I have this device. And now the if I know the functions of this device, if I know the features, if I know how it operates, and I can make the most of it, I can make the full potential utilization of this tool if I know how it works.
Yes.
And if I'm also trained into knowing how it works, how does it perform, and how can I make the most of it, right? So similarly now, this cell phone which I'm speaking about is a metaphor, akin to our mind and body. So think for a moment that we all human beings, when I say, so our body and mind is like a tool,
Yes.
through which we are experiencing life, through which we are achieving, attaining anything and everything in life. So should one be trained into knowing how this tool works and operates? So NLP is a formal study of learning how to do that, how to operate your mind and body so that you get what you want in life.
Okay. So you gave an example of a mobile phone. It has a hardware, software, applications, operating system, and a lot of features, right?
Right.
So how are these features? What are the features that we have that we are not aware about? And if we can use that, we can achieve goals in life.
Absolutely. So, like to name a few, let's say that, our mind and body. So, let's say that first of all, I'll start with this word called our subconscious mind, right?
Okay.
Unconscious mind, also you can call it. So, our body is on its own operating for now. Let's say that we are alive. So, you are alive, I'm alive. I hope we go on for many, many years to come. So, our body is automatically working.
Yes.
Right. So if it is, so let's say about my heartbeat, my the blood is pulsating, every function of the body, there are millions of functions taking place. I'm not doing that, right? I'm not doing it consciously. I'm right now busy talking to you, right? So it's happening on its own. Now if it is happening on its own, which means there is something that is making it happen.
Yes.
So that is called the subconscious mind, right? So now the first feature to understand is like we as human beings, we are already programmed since our childhood that our body and mind are running on its own. So now the question is, are we rightly programmed or not? So if we are doing things in life which are taking us to our better life, or the kind of life where our dreams, our desires, our goals are being fulfilled, then we are operating in a wonderful way. But then what if our programming is not helping us to grow in life? What if people are having more challenges than successful outcomes? So this is where one needs to reprogram.
Okay.
Right? So this is where the NLP comes in, the programming. So N stands for nervous system,
Okay.
right? So nervous system is neuro, so neuro-linguistic programming. So neuro refers to our nervous system, which means the tool, the body and mind combined. It's the nervous system, right? And now L is the linguistics. Linguistics, in simple words, it's about language. It's about the communication systems. So in other words, if I can bring back this cell phone and I say, you know what, I'm typing a word. So let's say I type magic, all right? MAGIC. Now, if I type it, I see it on the screen. Interestingly, this phone is already coded to interpret and understand the typing, the alphabet that I'm typing. So it is understanding something as an input from me from the outside, and it is bringing an output,
Yes.
right? So now, which means it has a already existing code inside. So language is a code, all right? In simple words, let's say that, So it is through language we are actually operating our mind and body. So language, the way we speak, language is also a lot about non-verbals and the way we speak inside our own heads, the self-talk. So all of this is the L part of linguistics,
Okay.
right? And now the programming, the P stands for programming, means it is about having the ability to organize your language in such a way that you are producing an optimum performance of your body mind.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. And it seems to be a wonderful definition. So what I understand from this is that we have this mind and body, a tool through which we achieve our outcomes, the goals, the desires, or whatever we want in life. So language is a medium through which we operate this mind and body. And if we're not getting results in life which we want to, then we need to reprogram.
Fantastic. Right? And that is neuro-linguistic programming. So it is through language. So we as human beings, you see that how are we different and separated from the other animal species? There are thousands and millions of them. We human beings have the power and the privilege of having language. It is through language that we are human beings. Now we are communicating so quick. All the advancement, all the technology, all the growth as a human being, it is through language. So we read books, so we watch movies, we communicate, we learn, we teach. It's all through language, right? So language is the ultimate power of being a human being. And now in NLP, we utilize that power into making our life more meaningful. And I want to share that many people, in fact, so many people are underutilizing this power of language.
In fact, when I heard this for the first time, that language is the medium of change and transformation, the meaning that I had about communication is totally different now. So communication is not just about conversations. It's not just about expressing yourself. It's about making changes in your life. It's about having a conversation with your mind and body so that they are aligned to you to achieve your goals.
Wonderful. In fact, if you speak about language and communication, it is about, NLP is about how to bring influence and impact in language. So let's say, if I'm talking to someone, let's say I'm talking to you right now. If I'm communicating well, I'm creating an impact.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm creating an impact. I'm creating an influence, which means impact and influence will get you positive results in life.
Yes.
Right? In any ways, let's say a manager or a leader in the professional setup, yeah, or in a relationship, or a teacher, student, or any form of language or communication, it is, if you are able to create impact, you are getting positive results in your life.
Yes.
Now, what's more interesting when it comes to NLP is the way we are influencing our own mind
Wow.
and the body. Now, that's a major concern. So, NLP is not only about how to have an external, intrapersonal, or other interpersonal communication or
Yes.
language systems. This is more about how do you create a communication system within yourself that you are producing results in life. And when I say results, I'm not talking about big goals to achieve in the future. That's there, of course. Even at every little situations in life, right? If I am so from the perspective of NLP, it's if I'm happy right now, it is I have communicated in such a way that I'm happy. If somebody speaks good with me, I'll feel happy. So it's all again the coding system. Yeah. So a person who is sad, majorly sad, or consistently depressed, or consistently happy, or otherwise, they are creating happiness or sadness or depression.
Okay, but what we say is I'm happy or sad because of some external source.
That's right. So if you speak good with me right now, I'll feel good. But then the interesting point is, I have an existing code which I spoke about the cell phone a while back. The way you speak with me, it is adhering to my rule that if people speak good with me, it's a good thing. I should feel happy.
Yes.
So the emotion that is coming out as a program we call in NLP, it is not with the way you are speaking only. It's about my existing coding that tells me this is good or something else is bad.
Yes.
It's all a program. So NLP will hence make a person really intelligent is the way I see.
Wow. I think that really seems to be magic because what you said about communication, linguistic programming, I think every person needs it.
I think as far as we are human, we all need this programming. Otherwise, I would say that we are living an animalistic, mechanical way of living. That our past programming or the external sources are programming us and we are accordingly delivering in life. So to stop this mechanical way of living, we need to learn reprogramming. We need to learn neuro-linguistic programming to take charge of our life in our own hands.
So Ravi, you talked about the word reprogramming. So what is that we need to reprogram to bring changes in our life?
I think, okay, coming back to the cell phone, metaphor which I spoke about. So you need to know the workings of it. You need to know, the more you know how it works, what are the existing, strengths or the applications or the whole internal system of the mobile phone, you'll be able to operate it in a better way.
Yes.
Right? And I'm not completely now focusing on learning psychology, per se. Here we are talking about how to understand the way our mind and body is designed to work, which is a part of the NLP curriculum and content. So the first thing is understanding how it works. And secondly, knowing what you want in your life. It's about what goals are you looking for. You need to solve a problem of the past, or you need to achieve something in your life, go to the next level. And the more you understand about the way the mind and body are designed to operate, we can then take charge and learn those tools, learn those techniques, and start making those changes by learning NLP.
Okay, so if a person wants to apply NLP in his life, he needs to understand the working of his mind and body.
That's right.
And then what are the goals he wants to achieve? Based on that, he can use NLP to get things work for him.
Absolutely right. It's for somebody who wants to really make most of life, achieving and attaining goals, or somebody wants to get rid of the problems. There are many people, it is their past emotions, their traumas, or limiting memories. So NLP also has this fantastic toolkit, techniques of how to get rid of your past and reprogram yourself for the future.
I think, Ravi, past has a big influence on us. A big influence. Like our memories, our beliefs, our experiences, the values, the meta programs that we have, they are all impacting our present and the future. So I'm getting the importance of how important is reprogramming in one's life.
Yeah.
Whether a person is having issues or challenges or the person wants to go to the next level. People need to reprogram
We
because
need to reprogram.
yeah.
You see that even again, talking about this computer language or the cell phone language, devices kind of language, we need to update. Why people are buying the latest technology in all the gadgets or devices? Why? Because you want to stay in touch with something ongoing. You want to belong to a part of the community or the world where you are in par with the latest technology.
Yes.
But then now what if we are utilizing or our minds are not updated for years? So we will have some kind of survival challenge in this kind of an environment. So we need to update. We need to do that.
Correct.
Yeah. So in the era of iPhone 16s and 15, 16s and stuff like that, if somebody is using an iPhone operating system, maybe 6 or 7, so they'll find pretty much challenging to deal with the ongoing challenges our circumstances of life are actually bringing into us. So we must update.
Yeah. I remember, Ravi, I was attending one of your workshops on neuro-linguistic programming in Pune, and you said that NLP is more about learning life skills.
That's right.
It's about learning how do you deal with life, how do you deal with emotions, feelings, challenges, most of these things.
This is, again, of course, absolutely, thanks for bringing that up right now, that NLP learning, it's about peak performance, right? So peak performance, which means with NLP, you will see that every situation in life, you have a potential of performing even better.
Okay.
Which we are calling as peak performance, like performance at its best. Now we need tools to do that. We need some understanding to do that. So now what's the beauty of learning NLP is that it is not restricted to a particular field. Let's say a field of professional setup, or somebody's only looking for self-development or personal transformation, or let's say spiritual, upliftment and stuff like that. It is about life. So anyone and everyone can actually participate into learning this, right? And now it is therefore called as a life skill. So in order to deal with life situations, you need to perform at your very best.
Yes.
How should you do that? And NLP is the answer to all of that. It is the answer to all of that, believe me. So that how should you perform at your peak, at your best in every situation? So therefore I call it as a life skill. Everyone must learn life skills.
But Ravi, in a person's life, there are a lot of different and diverse situations, right? So how can a one program deal with multiple or diverse issues a person is facing?
I think I want to add, another word with this, with this wonderful thought that you are sharing with me here. Is that along with learning life skills, I think NLP also makes a person intelligent.
Okay.
Intelligent. Okay, that's one of my favorite words, by the way. And I'm not referring to somebody having a good IQ. Like students getting better marks or getting a good job with their IQ. I'm not talking about that IQ. So that IQ is a function of memory or how much knowledge you have about your field, and you are able to solve mathematical complex problems, etc. Here I'm dealing with life situations. So I believe that people need to be intelligent to be able to deal with very dynamic life situations. Very dynamic. In life, no two things can be the same. No two time can be the same instances, right? So we need to be intelligent to be able to deal with life in a very dynamic way. And NLP supports that, by the way. Because NLP is teaching you how does your mind work? How should you make it work the way you would like in any situation, right? And how should you operate your body as well? So please remember, in NLP, we are not talking about only the mind. We're talking about the mind and the body. That's the neuro part of the nervous system of the NLP. So if I am right now sitting the way I'm sitting, all right, and I'm delivering in a way, if I were to slouch my shoulders and then sit like pretty drooped and pretty uninterested, if my body language is like that, I won't be able to perform at my peak. So I'm also learning in NLP that how can I use my mind and the body to make the best of the existing time that I'm spending.
In fact, that reminds me of one of the concepts that you had told in the workshop about the concept of motion and emotion, right? The motion and the emotion concept. Like, for example, if you want to change your emotion, if you change your motion, you're able to change your emotion,
Wow,
right?
that's right.
So I think that is...
And that's also another fascinating feature of what NLP brings to offer. Because even this little part, if I can share some thoughts on it, is that imagine for a while, we as human beings, okay, we can actually do anything in life. So just think for a moment. Do you have some things in your life that you think you must do, but you're not doing it? Think about it. I'm sure there are many.
Yes.
We all have.
Many.
Like there are many things I would also want to do, but I'm not doing it for some reason. I'm procrastinating it, or I think it's not the right time and I'm pushing it away. But let's say, what if we have a last day to live today? If today were to be the last day of our life, will we do those things which we always wanted to do?
Yes.
I think yes. I believe it, yes. In fact, also that reminds me of Steve Jobs, who had this habit of, in the morning, that he would ask himself a question, that what if today is the last day of my life? What are the things that I want to be doing, and what are the things that I not want to be doing? So that was his way of creating that state in himself, something that you're calling as the emotion.
The emotion.
What we behave, what we do, is a determinant of our state. If I am right now pretty empowered in my state, I will perform as per my empowerment. I might have my body language or my words, my voice, in a way which is connecting with the empowerment. That's the state I'm going through.
Yes.
So therefore, you're absolutely right. It is the emotion that creates motion. And opposite is also true. If I want to bring myself in the state of empowerment, I might want to sit, talk, or create the kind of bodily, mechanic into creating my state. So motion brings emotion. Emotion also brings motion. So it's a chicken or the egg kind of thing. Who comes first? Yeah.
Okay. So this is more about what we're understanding is what is neuro-linguistic programming.
That's right.
Okay. So Ravi, can you tell us why people should be interested? Why people should be interested in learning this topic of neuro-linguistic programming?
I think if, like I said, it's about people who are really wanting to make most of life, first of all. That's what my belief is. That's how my personal journey started. And it's ongoing. That I want to make the best of my life because life is limited. That's my firm belief. You can earn a lot of money, but you can't really buy time, right? So our time we spend in life, we don't know who's got how much life left, right? So how can we make the most of it? That's my belief, okay? I'm just sharing with you. So in order to really make most of life, you must know life skills, right? You must be intelligent to be able to do the things that matter to you and stay away from things that don't matter or things that are restricting and limiting you. So if people really want something like this, they want to really experience the essence of life, they must learn NLP. Even to deal with problems, even to deal with your own thoughts, or even you want to earn money faster, you want to grow in life fast, you want a fast promotion, you want to influence other people, you want to get fantastic in communication, many, many things. So I think that's where I believe that people should learn this kind of setup where it's already there. It's a curriculum laid out for everyone.
Wonderful. So Roy, I am curious to ask another question about the origin of neuro-linguistic programming. I think this concept, this workshop came in somewhere in 1970s.
That's right.
So what is the central idea of neuro-linguistic programming? What made the founders to come up with something called as NLP?
Fantastic. I would love to, in fact, talk this out in this very discussion. That you're right that NLP started in the 1970s, okay, in Santa Cruz, California,
Yes.
USA, by these two gentlemen called as Richard Bandler and John Grinder. Okay. Now, it is these two gentlemen who started with this very thought, with this very idea, especially Richard Bandler. So he was this mathematics student and a computer programmer. So he came with this idea that if we are able to make, computers, we can make the best computers, we can design and manufacture computers as they are. And he came up with this idea that why some people are successful in life and why many of them are not successful. Having given the same potential of the mind and body equally, then why some make it, some don't, many don't. So that was the quest. He started this search of what is it that successful people are doing in their life. And when I say successful, I'm not talking about money particularly. They're talking about everyone who was successful in communication. Some people were very successful in creating therapeutic outcomes, into communicating, therapy, successful business success. So they started to study this. That what is it that successful people are doing in their minds, with their body, that they're able to produce successful results.
Okay, so they studied these successful people
That's right.
of that time.
That's right. And it's also called as modeling. So modeling started in the beginning of NLP making. So modeling is a concept that let's say if you want to achieve a certain goal in life, you must find a person who has it, right? And then what is the person doing in their minds, what they're doing with their body, you start to observe and apply in your life, right?
Okay.
So the concept of modeling, it's about they've created models. So when you learn NLP, you're actually learning already proved or already proven successful formula.
Okay.
Yeah, like what you need to do to bring success in your life. So that's how NLP began.
Okay, so it was a study done by these two people, the founders,
Right.
about what makes people successful.
That's right.
And based on that, all the tools, the techniques,
Right.
the whole syllabus of NLP is designed.
That's right. So that NLP is also called as a model of models.
Okay.
All right. So when people come and learn NLP, they are ready-made. They are learning already proven, successfully proven tools, techniques, and concepts.
Okay. So these techniques that they have, that they modeled about, where can they be used? Are there any specific scenarios?
So now when I say, Sanjay, that's a very interesting thing. Like, when I say life skills, so in life, there are many situations and many circumstances. So what NLP came about into this making, now let's say 1970s it started, and now we're talking about being in 2025, it's more than 5 decades. So the refinement of this model came about in these 5 decades, these 52 years. So when these two gentlemen started making this whole model of NLP, they started studying people. They started taking a lot of interviews, trying to understand what are they doing inside, So also just one touch-up point that even the word neuro-linguistic programming came from those times where computers were in boom, especially in the United States, that it was a computer era coming up. So therefore, Richard Bandler thought of this word called neuro-linguistic programming. It sounds like a computer language. It is. Also with a very strong belief that our mind is like a computer, right? Mm-hmm. But we are not the computer. Think about this. We are the programmers of the computer.
Oh.
And let's say that there are many other people who are living their life in a very mechanical, animalistic way. So they've become the computers themselves, not the programmers. So in NLP, we are actually dealing with becoming the programmer back again, right? Having the ability to reprogram the way we would like our computer system to be.
Yes, being in the driver's seat.
That's right. So now, so coming now to the particular, thought that you shared and your inquiry, that in what situations in life or in what circumstances NLP will be utilizable, is that you see that as a human being, we are dealing with many, many different circumstances. So in these whole, 50 years, 52 years now, so NLP is also about, it's called a multidisciplinary synthesis of various fields,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So multidisciplinary synthesis meaning is that the content of NLP is derived from behavioral psychology, cognitive psychology, quantum physics, linguistics, metaphors, right? Gestalt therapy, timeline therapy, many, many more things. Now, which means there are different, many, many different disciplines created and consolidated into the making of NLP
Okay.
in order to perform at the very best in every different changing life circumstances.
Okay. And there is a reason that to suit different diverse conditions, NLP has been designed
Correct.
by taking help from multiple disciplines or domains.
That's right.
And that's why there's a lot of variety in the NLP topic.
Absolutely. So in learning NLP,
I
you're
got
not
it
only
now.
learning psychology, you're learning many, many things which are relevant for a human being to live life at its best. So that's the multidisciplinary synthesis stuff.
In fact, that's what makes NLP so dynamic and so
Indeed.
suitable to various life situations.
That's right. So you see, when I conduct these certifications, these workshops, and I see that every time we have such a diverse group. We see that a corporate leader is sitting, and there's a teacher, there's a housewife, there's a student. That's the beauty of NLP, because it's relevant for everybody.
Okay, so that brings me a very curious question. What is different that you do from other NLP trainers? What is the USP that you offer?
I think, firstly, NLP is a globally standardized curriculum.
Okay.
All right, which means, let's say somebody learns through me, from me, somebody's learning from any other country, any other state. The curriculum is standardized, which means the content is the same. Now, what is the difference is that the style of the trainer, the facilitators. All right, so then if I were to share my USP, so-called, then I think I'm more of a very depth guy. I research a lot of underlying theories behind this whole topic. Yeah. So NLP is a very practical tool, of course. But then I believe the practicals will make a lot of sense, and the applicability is derived from how much people are understanding the topic. So that could be one of the things I might say, that many other trainers don't go in that much of depth into the underlying principles and the theories and the topics, which I do. And the second one, I think, what separates me from many others is I utilize NLP my own self from all these years, and I continue to do so. So in other words, in the workshop, it's more of my own narratives I share. It's about my own experiences with this particular topic that we are dealing with at that time. So I utilize, because I'm a very result guy, I don't believe in any kind of information which is there. Like, I know this stuff, but I don't apply it. I don't consider that as a real learning, So when we say knowledge is power, right? So this power comes from the utilization of knowledge.
Yeah.
When you are getting the results in your life, So I have experimented with NLP for all these years, which I continue to do so. So I think this could be, called for another, maybe a USP from my side, that I share my own narratives and I make it very practically applicable.
So what happens after the 6 or 7 day workshop that you conduct? What happens afterwards? How is the journey of people afterwards?
I think, you see, first of all, I conduct these trainings for 6 days and 5 days, 6 days, depending on where we are doing it. I conduct weekend batches as well, and I conduct a straight 6 days workshop as well. So if somebody wants to learn NLP, so the first thing is they start this practitioner's course, So practitioner's course is an introduction course to NLP. So people who want to get to know what NLP is, start to apply in their lives and stuff like that. It's a 6 days workshop. And once if we finish conducting that, since I said I'm a results guy, so it's not like the participants are left by their own. So I conduct weekly online sessions for months and months. In fact, I've created a community as well. So we keep practicing NLP every week till eternity, in fact, if I can share. Because I believe these are life skills, and life skills is not just about knowing what I need to do. It's about testing what's happening, experimenting with what's happening and what's not happening. So I provide this external support so that people really get the results.
Okay. So basically in the NLP community meet that you have, I think it's the weekly community meet wherein
That's right.
people...
Usually weekly, sometimes, twice or once in 2 weeks, every fortnight kind of thing.
Okay.
But I'm in constant touch with my participants. I create communities. So even a new member coming in, they'll be a part of the already existing bigger community where people are there to support each other. We're talking about life skills, man. Come on. It's not like some book we read and we are left. So that's not how it works.
Yes, yes. In fact, I remember attending these community meets where I also happened to meet some of the senior alumni and wherein a lot of support is provided by them too. In fact, in the NLP community, we also have some master NLP practitioners.
That's right, yeah. And master practitioners about once if you finish learning from these 6 days and things are working for you, and then you can also enroll for master practitioner. That's another 14 days of content. So if you want to get more into depth, so then there's another master practitioner's training as well. Let's say even the journey is not finishing now, If somebody wants to then become an NLP trainer, I also certify people to become NLP trainers as well. So that's the kind of a journey, these are steps, depending on how far you want to go and how much change you want to bring.
Okay. And Ravi, which type of people they should, in fact, consider doing this workshop? Is this workshop specifically designed for people like trainers, coaches, HR professionals?
Absolutely not, if I can share. I think, first of all, I really want to share from the bottom of my heart, it is not about professionals, it's about human beings. Believe me, it's about human beings. They must know how does the mind work, how to make most of the mind, program themselves and bring success in their life. Or maybe the only little limitation would be the age. So I usually do not take somebody who is below 16, 17 years of age. That's the only criteria. Otherwise, it's absolutely, everybody is absolutely equally entitled to participate into learning this.
Yeah, because we're talking about life skills. So
Right.
everybody would need those skills.
Yeah, but when it comes to professionals, like you said about HRs or trainers and coaches, they must do this. They must learn this. In fact, they must master NLP because it is these people with their communication, they are bringing results into people in masses. So learning NLP is like a master tool in their already existing toolkit that they must have.
So even it could be managers or entrepreneurs or senior
Absolutely.
leaders because they are the one who are influencing a lot of people.
That's right. So NLP, it's about influencing yourself to be able to get what you want in life and influencing others. So when these people who are dealing with others, they're dealing with the group, they're dealing with masses, even politicians, leaders, they must learn this because it's about influencing. It's about impact. If they only have this kind of an impact, they are bringing changes in people. So that's what we have.
All right. So Ravi, when people attend the workshops, can you give me just a window to the workshop? What happens in the workshop? What happens in the workshop? Like, for example, you have demonstrations, you have lecturettes, you have practices in the groups. Can you give me some idea more on this?
Of course, thanks. In fact, I would like to share in this regard that, when I facilitate, so I apply this adult learning theory, adult learning theory. So
Interesting.
some people, they learn just by knowing the concept or learning a technique. But adult learning theory is much more dynamic. It's much more deep. That sharing with the concepts, I bring in a lot of metaphors, to make concepts really understandable. So even when I spoke in the beginning about the cell phone, I've created a metaphor for people to understand it better. And I'm sure if right now the viewers and the listeners, they must have got a little clarity on this topic of NLP because of that metaphor, the cell phone metaphor, the computer metaphor, right? So I use a lot of metaphors to make concepts pretty easy. And then I give demonstrations because adults learn through modeling. So when they look at an expert applying that technique, so they learn even better. So these are many things which I keep in my facilitation toolkit for me to be able to get to the result ultimately. So my whole training journey is a combination of many different ways of learning, addressing different ways people want to be learned as. Some people want to experience and learn. Some people want to look and learn. Some people want to learn the concept and then learn. So I combine all of that.
So basically, you help people to learn in their learning preferences,
in their style.
in their style.
That's correct. That's adult learning theory. That's right.
Okay, I think interesting. So there's a lot of variety people can expect in terms of different methodologies that people can have in the workshop.
Right. Because I'm ultimately, fundamentally focused on the word called results. I want results. So everything that I aspire to do or I incorporate is to get them to the result.
Right, that brings me one more question. The workshop that you conduct, NLP certification, is it certified from which organization or which body? Can you give me some more idea?
Of course. In fact, to share this, I am a member and I'm a trainer member of the world's biggest and the most accredited, most renowned body called American Board of NLP.
Okay.
Right. So I certify with the body, with the brand called as AB NLP, American Board of Neuro-Linguistic Programming. So that's the number one in the world. So I'm associated with them as a trainer.
Okay, so people get
They get a certificate
certified from AB NLP.
That's right. So which means it's a very, in fact, the globally standardized, recognized certificate. So that can also help them into their professional careers if need be.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes. And I also provide a manual, right? Like a 200 pages manual for them. At the same time, I keep providing with them some new videos of demonstrations, right? Where people can, after finishing the workshop, they can also watch some demonstrations for them to be able to recall and relearn and understand how should they be doing to continuing their practices in a better way.
In fact, Ravi, you told about the various learning methodologies that you use. One thing I remember very vividly was you used a lot of videos. You have these video analysis.
Oh, yes.
In fact, one of the participants from Master Practitioner told me that when you were conducting this workshop in Goa, so one night you had this full video of probably a movie, and then you had a breakdown.
That's right.
What was NLP concept used in that movie or workshop?
But I think this is one of the other maybe in context to your USP question that I show lots and lots of video clips, movie clips, because that's the way we learn things faster. When we look at others applying that technique or the tool, and how have they got results. So it's easy for grasping the conceptual understanding. And I use a lot of it because I love to watch movies myself. And I think, when I watch it, it's not from the hobby sake only. It's also about I analyze movies. I learn a lot from movies. So that's another wonderful, I think, feature which people really find it entertaining, enjoyable, and learning.
Okay. So Ravi, thank you so much for helping us to gain more insights about neuro-linguistic programming. So any last words would you like to share?
I think firstly, it's been a delight for me to talk about my favorite subject and the most fascinating subject of life. And I think the last words would be that if people who are listening, anybody who's listening and watching this, must seriously reconsider that we have a wonderful opportunity. I really want to welcome and invite them into this NLP community where we are transforming ourselves and the people around us. So let's make most of it and stick together.
Ravi, thank you so much for sharing your insights and experiences.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.